not much. Just
hey, you.
Yeah, you. You want to get into the only undefeated match left in this tournament? Well, we're going to.
Yeah.
It's going to be Muzzy taking on DiegoDias.
Yeah,
Sorry, I took it too far.
Both of these players are undefeated, and they're already into it. Game one's already been broken down. So the bans, both players decided to ban Rogue. Quest Rogue got banned out from DiegoDias, and Muzzy's Miracle Rogue got a little bit of respect getting banned out from him. And the first game got into it. The Shaman was up against the Druid. So Muzzy's Shaman took a loss up against the Druid from DiegoDias, the Jade Druid getting a win there. Now he's re-queuing up this Jade Spirit Echo Shaman, and he's going up against the mid-range Murloc Paladin from DiegoDias. And one of the interesting things that's been throughout this tournament is the transition away from the mid-range Murloc Paladin towards more the Control Paladin. Most of the players in the tournament have been favoring the Control Paladin, but Diego is still favoring kind of more like what the Europeans were playing, the mid-range Murloc Paladin. It's been working out for him.
Yeah, it's nice to see that both decks are clearly very viable in this tournament meta this week. And then we've been seeing a reasonable amount of Shaman as well, everything from Jade with a slight elemental package to the hyper-aggressive Doppelgangster Evolve, 2 copies of Bloodlust. So really all across the board for both of these classes.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Shaman you wouldn't think is being like a super popular class on ladder, but in the tournament metagame, it's pretty crazy how many different variations of Shaman we're seeing play and how popular it is. This variation of Shaman in particular is very controlling, and it has a double devolve, double hex, and those are some powerful tools against Paladin. You think of like being able to devolve or hex Tyrion, or just being able to devolve and break up Murloc synergies in general, or devolve a Spike Ridge Steed is super powerful.
And then clearly both of these guys, they're the only 2 remaining players in this tournament who are 5-0. So the winner will be the lone 6-0 score in the tournament. Obviously, Muzzy is a hugely popular player, Luminosity Gaming, ladder giant who has made it very far in HCT playoffs in the past, but hasn't ever made a championship. And then DiegoDias is a name that you've probably seen on ladder because he's probably beaten you a couple of times. He is a fantastic player from Brazil who has actually been top 4 in Copa America in spring of this year and was top 4 in Copa America Grand Finals in 2015. So those are South American tournaments that are very highly respected in that region, but that you don't really hear too much of in the North American scene at the very least.
For sure, definitely. Some of these players can kind of go under the radar a little bit, but they're here proving themselves right now. And with the 5-0 score, he's doing a good job of proving himself. And he's off to a really good start in this matchup, getting sizable board control. Which, the Paladin needs board control to be able to buff its minions and do what it wants to do with its game plan. And the Jades are off to kind of a slow start for Muzzy. He didn't hit the early game cards that he really wanted to hit. No early game Jade Claws, nothing like that. So fighting from behind. So the game plan here from the Paladin player, try and develop a big board, try and land your buffs so that you can kind of just control the game and go at your own pace. And while you're doing that, while you're being the aggressor, you got to make sure you don't overextend into the AoE clears.
It's sort of tough to play around, that line of how much do I need to extend to actually be able to put on enough pressure, but how much is too much.
Right, exactly. Especially with cards like 2 copies of Volcano in this Shaman from Muzzy. That's something you have to watch out for. If you overextend into that, it could just be lights out and you don't have enough pressure going forward to really close out the game. But chooses to go here with the Sen'jin Shieldmaster over the Gentle Megasaur, and the option between the 2. Wants to get more value off the Gentle Megasaur. It's kind of like your big closing card. You want to just make sure that your Murlocs remain a threat throughout the entire game. So by not playing it, Muzzy has to kind of worry about it, and then he may have to clear, a board that's smaller than he would like to clear, just because that threat of the Megasaur allowing for lots of burst damage from Diego, remains constant throughout the game.
Ideally, you get a Megasaur down on a board after you've played Vilefin Inquisitor, and then you have the recruits transformed into Murloc. So here's the Vilefin in hand, actually, now for Diego, meaning that he's going to have that natural Murloc generation engine going forward, and can then turn those rather weak-looking Murloc 1/1s into, 4/1s in some cases.
He's being extra aggressive with this Spike Ridge Steed here. He doesn't really fear the devolve too much. He says, you know what, The minions on this board don't really get punished too much by devolve, but it is a big risk. It opens up the ability for Muzzy to have Hex active, which I guess he doesn't mind because he has Tyrion, so he's kind of baiting a Hex. But the devolve here gets disgusting value, completely removing the Spike Ridge Steed. But it does turn the weak minion of a Stonehill Defender into a 2-drop, which isn't that bad of a downgrade. But completely removing the Spike Ridge Steed really slows down the gas here for Diego.
You can't actually steed
one.
Fairy Dragon.
Well, you can steed the Imp.
You can.
Then it can get the valuable trade up, and then that minion will be quite resilient for the rest of the game and continue buffing the health. It's not a bad roll to get, honestly.
You hide Fairy Dragon behind a taunt. The only way it can be removed is through Volcano or Lightning Storm.
It's a decent amount of pressure for sure. A lot of times in these matchups where the control deck is just trying to stop endless floods of minions, it tends to be slightly favored for the deck that's putting out the endless threats, because eventually the control deck just runs out of the necessary removal. The Murlocs start stockpiling up, and they just can't get rid of everything just because the hero power is such a threat from the Paladin and generates so much value over time. So Diego was trying to get a read. He was trying to figure out, is there a Hex in Muzzy's hand? And since he was met with a devolve, he doesn't really have that knowledge available to him. So he is gonna stray away from playing the Tyrion this turn. It looks like just the Murloc commitment. Doesn't even try and squeeze in the hero power. He feels like he's just kind of going all in on this board. He says, maybe the matchup's just unfavorable for me, and one of my best shots of winning is just pushing right now.
He's already at a bit of a resource disadvantage, so in some of those cases you do just have to play a little bit risky. Hope you get kind of lucky and your opponent doesn't have exactly what they need.
Right. 2 copies of Volcano that Muzzy could have to kind of punish this board extension. He does have a lot of health in play. The Aya gets to chop down a good chunk of it, though.
And the nice thing is that if Muzzy is forced to commit to a Volcano, he really can't develop much of anything on the backswing, whereas if Diego had simply played Tyrion, Hex plus, Thing from Below could have come down.
Sure, sure. Muzzy has all of the answers, though. He's got the ability to devolve and Volcano if he wants to, but just devolve is so disgusting on this board. You can see how much work it does. Removing the Gentle Megasaur buff and just taking care of those Murloc synergies, leaving Diego with just wisps.
And he has some of the best development in his deck to go along with it. Additional copy of Thing from Below that's sitting at 3 mana right now.
Yeah. If you could play more Thing from Belows in Shaman, you definitely would. And that's one of the main reasons why Stonehill Defender ends up finding a home in Shaman. It's looking rough for Diego. His one last hope is this Tyrion, and it's just going to get met with the Hex. The all-in push for him not really working out too favorably, but that must have just been how he feels like the matchup goes.
If he picks up a Creator, he'll have a couple more resources to work with. Finja also would maybe extend this game a little bit longer.
Right. And he can get something off this Huckster, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
It's something high value, something that offers maybe some sort of draw and ancestral knowledge, because he gets a Shaman card.
Farsight.
Yeah, into something big would be great. But just a hand disadvantage here, trying to compete with this many resources. He has all the reactionary tools, though, so he can really slow down the game a lot. It does not seem like a very appealing board to just drop the Tyrion into, though. But it's also not a very appealing board to equality. So do you ever just hero power and just pass? He's going to try and push with this board. He wants to try and get an AoE out of Muzzy on just these small, kind of insignificant 1/1s.
I mean, he's putting Muzzy pretty low.
Right. 11 health is not a lot.
Muzzy can heal 9 with Guardian and Jinyu. You also know that he has 2 additional taunts in hand. Yeah, I could see a quality Consec on the first board. Maybe try to bait Muzzy into overextending some of those resources, equality, and clear off with Wisps. Taram's quite good as well.
Yeah, Taram is a fantastic draw here. He doesn't have the greatest ways to really activate it because he can't get rid of one of Muzzy's minions But just hero power Tarim does not seem too bad. Get the value trade on the 2/2.
Yeah, the Searing Totem's kind of a bummer in the middle there. But you still end up with the favorable board state.
Yeah, he was really hoping that was a taunt totem, then he could take it down for free. That would have been fantastic, but... Of the draws he could have got there, though, that's one of the best. That keeps him in it. This push just gets a little bit more gas.
Ancestral Spirit.
If there is no Hex for the Tyrion, that is definitely one way you can win. The question is, maybe you think there is a Hex, so you try and put the Ancestral Spirit down now on the Tarim and hope that Muzzy falls into the trap of hexing it.
And then maybe your Tyrion sticks.
Maybe it does, yeah.
All things considered, not a bad huckster drop. It at least gives you something that you didn't have access to before that you would have liked to.
Right. And is Muzzy in a position where he can save the Hex for Tyrion? The card in Diego's hand has been there for a while. So, you know, Muzzy's assuming that it's most likely something large, whether it be Tyrion, Ragnaros Lightlord, just some big thing that he probably wants Hex for.
You can
Volcano.
Yeah. And then Jade Lightning afterwards. No, you wouldn't want a Jade Lightning before because then you would have your own Jade be in the pool of health for Volcano.
Right.
Yeah, it'd just gin you up.
Yeah, just making sure he holds the crucial resources that he needs to hold. So is it time to commit all into the Tyrion, or is Diego... He may just be putting him on still having the Hex. None of these secrets from Hydrologist are helpful in this situation.
You would have liked Getaway Kodo.
Yeah, Getaway Kodo, anything that could just, basically just Getaway Kodo. Like, all the other secrets are really tempo-oriented, but Getaway Kodo could have given him the extra value he needs to really make it there.
See what resources Diego has left. Curator would be a big draw.
It would help. It's still tough to get through to
Yeah.
0 mana 5/5s, or I guess 1 mana 5/5s for now.
You can then Spirit Echo
Yeah.
2 additional 1 mana 5/5s.
Yeah, Muzzy has gas. So, with no really good secret off Hydrologist, Diego decides it is time to just kind of commit the Tyrion, hope there's no Hex, and see if this push is able to go the distance. And it's not able to go the distance. That Hex has been on a mission this whole game. It's been sitting in Muzzy's hand just waiting for the moment to turn Tyrion into a frog, and this is its moment to shine.
Tyrion's Cinderella story has ended. It's midnight.
It's time to
Been
go
turned
back.
into a frog.
Yep.
Poor guy.
Poor sweet Tyrion.
Rest easy, sweet prince.
Ribbit.
Croak.
Well, he does have this really wide Murloc board, so Muzzy doesn't have the largest amount of health in the world. Well, with the taunts, is kind of expands his health. But even just like an Equality Consecrate combo here could really push through a lot of damage.
Get down!
No, the War Leader helps. A little bit.
You kind of need to be able to get through these taunts and kill in one push.
Right.
Because you can never get through the second wave.
Exactly. Or he needs to get him to a low enough life total where damage over the top can kill him. And Paladin's not really known for damage over the top. All it has to really get the job done is Consecrate, which only deals 2. Yeah, that's...
So you have 4.
Right, he can push 2 additional damage through, setting Muzzy down to 7. But there's no way to really get the rest of that 7 damage. And this being the second equality means all of these things from below from Muzzy are going to be able to come back, get Spirit Echoed again, and come back again.
Yeah, I mean, this is Spirit Echo at its strongest. When you have expended your early game removal, so it's not clogging up your hand, you've discounted the thing from below's. This is really where it shines.
And additional healing coming to Muzzy's hand as well.
Yep. Let's go back up to 11. I'm trying to think, is there any possible way? Primordial Drake can come down, it would force a couple of trades, but it still wouldn't be enough.
What's interesting is just the game plan, right? Like, Diego has the ability as the Paladin to, try and play the value game, try and spam the hero power, try and, like earlier on, not at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah, we see what's happening. But earlier on in the game, he had the ability to either do an all-in push or try and extend the game, value his hero power, bait out clears, and then push. And those are totally different game plans that, obviously when Muzzy has the answers, the all-in push never works. But trying to decipher which of those lines is the higher win rate play based on what cards you have in hand at the time, he felt, you know what, I have a strong enough hand, I can afford to do this all-in push. I have double Spike Ridge Steed Tyrion. These are just powerful mid-range cards. This push works a lot of the time. A lot of the time, he does not have all the right answers. And that was the read he made on the situation instead of extending the game long. And it didn't work out for him here. But is that the highest win rate way to play the matchup? Or is the highest win rate way to play it long?
Beats me, man. I certainly haven't played enough of the matchup myself. I've been casting quite a bit of it. And unfortunately for the Paladin, the Shaman has all of the best, efficient, hard removal to deal with 1 health minions. You have Maelstrom Portal, Tyrion, and Steeds. It's Hex and Devolve. It just seems like the Shaman's removal options line up incredibly well against the Paladin. And you never really want the onus to be on your opponent to draw poorly for you to have the better chance,
Sure. Yeah. The Shamans have been increasing in popularity just because Paladins are so popular and just because their tools line up so well against it. But Diego's going to try again with the mid-range Murloc Paladin, this time up against the Taunt Warrior from Muzzy. A lot better of a matchup for the Paladin. Oftentimes they can kind of just get on the board and run away with the game. Muzzy does have 2 Brawls, which is one of the most essential cards against Paladin, shutting down their wide boards and stopping them from being able to buff a lot of minions. As well as a Harrison Jones, which is fantastic in this matchup because a lot of the times just the damage from Tyrion at the end of the game can become a real problem when the Taunt Warrior is trying to transition into its aggressive plan where it equips Sulfurous and starts trying to kill you. It can't actually armor up during that point, so the damage from Ashbringer can become a real factor. But if you just have Harrison Jones to remove it, well, it's not a factor anymore.
And additionally, one of the big problems for Warrior post-quest completion can be lack of resources in hand. You can be left with maybe just 1 or 2 situational, AoEs, Brawl, Sleep with the Fishes, things like that you couldn't get use out of before, but no actual development to put down after you equip Sulfurous. So Harrison Jones reloads you a couple of cards, you get taunts to play behind the quest.
It's not
Helps
bad.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Warrior is kind of in this weird spot where Quest Warrior in particular it's kind of a combo deck because it has all of these like 2-card combos and it has the one, 7-card combo of taunt, 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 taunt. So lots of different combos that work there. So any extra draw in Quest Warrior is always extremely powerful. It's just really hard to fit in that draw because you need all of these essential combo pieces, if you will. So Diego has the ability to clear the minion with the True Silver Champion if he wants. Alternatively, he could try and save the coin for an earlier Spike Ridge Steed and just set up a weaker play this turn.
Yeah, your hand's a bit heavy.
Right.
Ideally, you like to save coin in that situation, and Stonehill doesn't challenge either of these minions directly.
He's going to even set up the Repentance here, because he doesn't have a really clean way to challenge Spike Ridge Steed. So just the Repentance is able to, not Spike Ridge Steed, Bloodhoof Brave. So the Repentance, although it's not getting the greatest value in the world, he's hoping it either connects with a 4-drop or a 5-drop in the upcoming turns. Because there's potential that Muzzy just uses removal this turn, and then it leads into the 5-drop turn, which is one of the best turns for Repentance. But getting a Bloodhoof Brave is definitely not bad.
Pretty good. Paid off quite well. If Diego wanted to take both of the value traits here, he'd be very weak to Ravaging Ghoul or Whirlwind.
Right. 2 copies of Ravaging Ghoul, 1 copy of Whirlwind remaining in Muzzy's deck, so overextension into all of those. A little bit weak to Fishes. You don't really mind Fishes on 2 minions, but it does expose yourself to that as well. He's even going to just equip the True Silver here. So he's maybe playing around Brawl a little bit with this True Silver equip. And he's going to attack with the injured minion to help him play around Just Sleep with the Fishes. He's just trying to play around everything.
Yeah.
Might be playing around too much, honestly. Spike Ridge Steed does not offer any sort of clean trade-up on this Fen Creeper. As strange as it is, Fen Creeper's a really good stat line for this board, which isn't always the case. One thing Diego could do is use his True Silver and his 1 injured minion, and then coin out the Spike Ridge Steed on the healthy minion. Plays around Execute a little bit better, requires Muzzy to have an activator.
Yeah, it seems like Diego really has just been, he has a good understanding of what Muzzy has in the deck, how to play around it most efficiently, even if it requires missing a couple points of damage here and there, because ultimately, 1-2 points of chip damage isn't really what's going to win this game for Diego. It's going to be having more resources in the late game, being able to dilute the power of the Ragnaros hero power, and finishing the game that way. Especially now since he's made it, since Muzzy has made it through Diego's early game so efficiently. Now you transition to that late game strategy.
Right, transitioning to the late game, but you have to still be putting up enough pressure. If you play around too many things and don't get enough chip damage in, the quest gets completed, and if the warrior's health total is still, relatively high when the quest is completed, you can find yourself running into a lot of trouble just giving them so much time. If they have more time with the quest completed, that's bad news for you. So a lot of times when you're the aggressor, it's all about taking smart risks, taking risks that put you in a position that's not that bad, where they have low chances to have the outs, and getting in those extra 1-2 points of chip damage. Gonna hold back the second file with an Inquisitor.
Reducing the impact of Brawl.
Right.
So no Harrison will be available for the Tyrion, meaning that Ashbringer swings could potentially add up to 15 damage to face.
Most definitely, yeah. But Muzzy just must have felt his hand's so weak at the moment, he doesn't have too much going on. He needs more cards, so he's willing to play the Harrison Jones there, try and find more taunts to complete his quest. Completing his quest faster is more important to him than having Harrison Jones for the Tyrion in the later stages.
Yeah, Harrison helps you once you have completed the quest. If you haven't completed the quest, you're missing your win condition entirely. So It's like step 1, quest completion. Step 2, if step 1 has been achieved, Harrison and profit.
Sounds like a plan.
Gotta get to step 1 first, though.
Primordial Drake clears off not too much here, but it's a taunt that starts making your way towards completing the quest, and the other plays in Muzzy's hand are all pretty icky, as the Harrison Jones will die if he tries to do a Fishes combo, and the board honestly doesn't merit it. It's too weak at the moment, so I like the patient play of just playing the Primordial Drake, try and set up for something in the future.
Yeah, this obviously plays into Gentle Megasaur, adapt for +3 attack or poisonous would be quite good here for Diego, but
Not the end of
Not
the
worth
world.
giving it up, yeah.
Right, after they've played the Megasaur, then you can get the board clear in and still be fine from Muzzy's perspective. And then you don't have to worry about it, you know, the Murlocs repopulating again.
Yeah.
Because if you're always just clearing 1-3 Murlocs and 1-1 Murlocs, then and never letting the Megasaur come down, then the Megasaur is never going to come down, and eventually you run out of whirlwind effects. So you have
The
to.
whirlwind effects are really valuable, again, post-quest completion when you're trying to end the game very quickly, dealing damage to face consistently.
Right.
You can then whirlwind down small boards of 1-1 minions that may otherwise be giving you trouble and try to target those rag hits better.
Definitely do need to aim your Ragnaros a little bit at least.
So some value in the late game for the whirlwind effects as well.
Wow, this is a big disrespect towards Brawl, extending a Tyrion onto this board.
Whew.
It's like super aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Diego doesn't have that many resources to play around with.
Right. At this point, he's just looking at the board and saying, "Well, I got to do it. I don't have much gas left in the tank." The interesting thing is, he's hero powered. I think, did he hero power at all this game as the Paladin?
One time.
One time.
And the Primordial Drake cleared it off last turn for
Right.
Muzzy. But other than that, no, not getting as much value as you would like off of the hero power, especially since it is a Murloc now and is activated by Murloc Ward Leader, by Gentle Megasaur.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the Paladin hero power. I think me and Diego play Paladin very differently.
Yeah.
As I'm watching his game, he's very tempo-oriented. He likes taking, you know, lines that are super aggressive, and it's been working out for him thus far. I mean, he's 5-0, but I play the matchup a lot more passively. I squeeze in the hero powers, so totally different trains of thought, and it's cool to see him have success so far in the tournament, playing the game just differently, right? It's always fun to see unique approaches.
Especially since it's very hard to tell exactly which method is
The best.
better without like
Right.
extensive testing.
Exactly, because you can't just go by case of,
Yeah.
oh, this happened one time. Well, yeah, sometimes they have that card. You actually have to break it down and figure it out. And now Diego has the ability to try and set up a getaway Kodo on his Tyrion. It's a little tricky to do. He definitely has to forgo the hero power if he wants to land it with any consistency. But this is something Muzzy's going to see coming from a mile away. He's going to predict getaway Kodo or redemption, and he's going to make sure that he does not kill the Tyrion first. In fact, he's not going to kill anything because there's not enough pressure. If Diego wants to attack him, he has to get through these taunts first.
And then if he extends too much, you brawl and he has no resources left.
Right. This totally in control in this position.
A couple of good options. Flaming Claws gives you pretty good trades with the Hydrologist into the Alley Armorsmith.
Yeah, and when you see your Tyrion sticking like this, you gotta assume that's the green light. That means go. So the most aggressive option. And sending it to the dome. Now though, the Hydrologist and the War Leader being at 1 health is a huge liability against a second Ravaging Ghoul or a Whirlwind. Or even Sleep with the Fishes, because the Hydrologist, I believe, was played before the game.
Yep, gets Kodoed.
So only 1 Tyrion for DiegoDias thus far. He could still get another one off Stonehill Defender.
That's true. And Muzzy did have a rather difficult time dealing with the first one. Second one would be seemingly even harder.
Right. Ashbringer does 15 damage. Muzzy's only got 21 life at the moment. He hasn't even gotten the quest completed. He's still waiting on another taunt draw to be able to finish the quest.
And once you finish the quest, then you lose access to the Armor Up hero power.
Yeah. He's under a bit of heat. He's like just at the edge of stabilization.
It's just still a little bit uncomfortable, but you can see the light.
Yeah, and he's worried about whatever that card is in Diego's hand. Not the Hydrologist, he knows what that one is.
Yeah.
But the other card that's been sitting there, that could be a quality, or it could be something big that Diego's been holding back against Brawl.
Yeah, could be Raglight Lord. Maybe Finja. A couple big threats, certainly, that Muzzy would
That's a big
like
threat.
to play around. Yeah,
But
it is.
it kills your own board, unfortunately, for Diego, so probably not the big threat he's going to extend. That 4-1 Murloc is putting out as much offensive pressure as that 8-drop does. Getaway Kodo gets very limited value, as very often you're going to be getting the 4-1 Murloc. We have seen 1 Whirlwind and 1 Ghoul already from Muzzy, so you can kind of put him on not having that maybe, and then expect
Options.
maybe your little Murloc hero on the board sticks around, and you can get Getaway Kodo on something larger. But,
I mean, maybe you take Kodo now, wait until you play Primordial Drake, play Getaway Kodo behind that.
okay, I like that. Makes a lot of sense. Then you can try and guarantee getting that giant 8-drop back.
Honestly, if you were to land it on the Hydrologist, even a chance for an Eye for an Eye at this point, which you can then attempt to guarantee 8 damage from, would also be pretty good, but I'll take an additional Primordial Drake if it's offered to me.
Definitely not a bad one to get.
I'm not
It's
picky.
significantly worse once the Rag Hero power is online, though, because just 1 shot actually kills the Primordial Drake. Now Muzzy has the decision of, does he want to start trying to clean up this board, or does he want to try and armor out and then brawl, then clean up the board? And he's saying his board's mine to control. And he was right.
Yeah. Muzzy's a good player.
So how do you get through this last bits of 13 damage?
You've got 10 with Sulfurous. You know the armor up hero power is gone.
He could use a quality here to push through. A quality and then swing with the weapon so that he could then play War Leader, buff the Hydrologist, push through for the 4. And then he has the second weapon swing for another 5. So that's 9. And then he's really only missing 4.
You get to hero power as well.
Right.
That Murloc gets buffed.
Yeah. And you could maybe hit, within the next 2 draws, if there's no taunt from Muzzy, a true silver champion. Diego has 2 of those, which
Yep.
could be able to close out the game on the back end of it. It is a really low value equality, but
You've seen a couple of the cards in Muzzy's hand for a while now. I think you can assume that they're not taunts, otherwise the quest would have been completed sooner.
right. And he's been pushing extremely aggressively this whole time. So I imagine he's going to continue to do that. He's pushing so aggressively, he's not even preserving the minion.
Okay.
He's going for the 1 point of extra face damage. And the reason behind this is because it sets up lethal if the War Leader lives. He just needs the War Leader to live and for Muzzy not to find a taunt, which, you know, it's Taunt Warrior. So a lot of times they do find the
Suggests a
taunt.
couple of taunt
The
minions.
menagerie is for
Sometimes they don't, though.
That's true.
You got to definitely
Certainly.
set up for your win conditions.
Then in that situation, it's not a fun one to be in. The tauntless warrior doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it's not as good. The quest's a little bit harder to complete.
Yeah, you think? You talk about how it's a combo deck, you know.
Without-
Taunt, nothing. You don't quite get there.
It's a bummer.
Garrosh problems.
Armor made to fit.
He's going to play the Armor Smith here. Well, I guess he's playing around some sort of potential lethal outs from Diego by deploying the Armor Smith instead of utilizing the hero power.
Poisonous. Would still
Well,
be
he
1
gains-
damage off.
Yeah, he gains 1 armor. He's also worried about Eye for an Eye, right? The secret could be Eye for an Eye. It could just totally kill him if the Ragnaros hero power goes face.
Yeah.
So he needs to gain armor to try and play around Eye for an Eye. That's why Muzzy played the Armor Smith and didn't go for the Rag hero power. Wow. Wind Fury's not bad.
Get 6 through with the war leader,
Right. It's okay.
but you sacrifice 8. Armor Smith heals for 2.
Well, the important thing about it is at the end of that sequence, Muzzy's at 4, right? So he can't even, like, swing face. Actually, you have to kill the Armor Smith to continue bluffing this Eye for an Eye, right?
which will mean
Which would mean Muzzy would gain
swings of
a
war
lot
leader.
of life.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's even worth continuing the bluff then.
He'd go up to 12.
Right, you just have to go all in on the face. Muzzy's gonna quickly realize that this is not eye for an eye, and he's gonna be free to start utilizing his hero power. The second Armor Smith is huge. Yeah, there's, with both Armor Smiths drawn, a Brawl in the tank,
Diehorn Matriarch.
and the full board clear right here if he
Yeah.
wants to take it. The question is, does he even use the execute? And wow, just nails the 5-2.
I'll take it. Nothing kills you over the Drake. Nothing kills you through the Drake,
Under the Drake,
around the Drake.
to the right of the Drake.
To Garrosh's face we go.
It's, both qualities have been expended. The only thing left is maybe Sunkeeper Terram and Stonehill into Sunkeeper Terram. That's kind of the outs Diego's looking for. If he can, you know, take a few rag shots to the face, stabilize a bit of board,
Yeah.
he can make something happen with the Sunkeeper. But every turn it gets harder and harder to do because Muzzy gets more and more board control. He's even thinking about killing this Primordial Drake.
Consecration's still not an out. Armor Smith is making very sure of that. Yeah.
Yeah, the clutch little points of armor.
Even Kodo Consecration here wouldn't do it. Muzzy would still be one ahead.
Right. The armor gain has been crucial throughout this game.
Very well played by Muzzy. Knowing exactly what he has to play around.
Yeah, and just plays around it just enough.
Yeah.
So that he's in
Any
winning
more would be
position.
wasteful.
Right.
He likes to keep it interesting.
He's got a full board clear here. Opponent has 0 cards. And you just start ragging him in the dome.
Do 14 this turn.
It's a
Sounds good.
good amount of damage. Likely to do similar amount of damage next turn. Close it out. I can't imagine one draw here from Diego that puts him in a decent spot in this game. Aldor keeps him alive at 1,
Follow the rule.
or 2. So you kill the Silverhand Recruit as well. Well, you can take
You
a
got the
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah. If you want to expend and execute.
Well, you just run the Matriarch into the little Murloc dude. Hero power. If it goes face, you win.
Right. Yep, 50-50.
If it's Aldor, you still win.
It
But it takes longer.
does take longer, but you do still get there at the end of the day.
Sharp gadgets and steel.
Do the Inquisitor Murlocs have names?
Have names.
I don't know if they have names. Like the normal hero power, they're the Silverhand recruits.
I'm sure they're
What
called
are the Murlocs called?
the Silverhand Murloc, right? That just makes sense.
It would.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
They look like they're on a quest. They look like little heroes.
Oh, they're getting the job done.
Well, not this game.
No.
In the
but
past, I'm sure plenty of times.
they
they've
have
gotten-
like an all right track record, enough to like recommend them to other
Options,
people.
Options.
Maybe like contract work. If they don't follow through, you can let them
contract
go.
work Murlocs.
Yeah, for hire Murlocs.
Okay, I guess that.
You
yeah.
think Tiny Finn just is a salaried Murloc? No. He's too flighty for that. He likes to experience life. Can't settle him down.
Should I?
Seems pretty stable. I don't know. Tiny Friend's been a good guy to me.
I mean, he's a great guy.
He's always had my back.
He's just a
I played
nice dude.
Some wild Tiny Finn quest row.
Oh, yeah. Better than Wisps, for sure.
You pay, I protect.
All right. Another 50-50.
Do you draw to try to make it 100%?
He's gonna brawl. Both minions are injured, so now he can execute
And win.
Yeah.
All right, Muzzy's gonna go up 2-1. really is great to see Muzzy doing well. He's been so deserving for so long, such a fantastic player, and he's had great results in the past, but he's always been like just shy of making it to the championship. So I know he's got a lot of support from casters here at the HCT circuit. So
Very
to see him performing is very nice.
Player, very good ladder finisher. Always has tons of points on ladder. Definitely works very hard to be here. And a lot of people were saying he's gets like nervous and always gets so far, but
I think
never.
that may have gotten.
Nerves play with him, and then he's not able to finish. But he doesn't seem nervous at all right now. If anything, kind of tired. But
Like, all right, let's get this over with.
yeah, just this is what I do,
sleep.
man. Let's just win.
It's textbook now from us.
Well, he's up against a pretty tough matchup. He's playing the Control Paladin up against the mid-range Murloc Paladin, and the Control Paladin just has a lot less threats, actually. It's got a lot more things like Doomsayer, Wild Pyromancer, Forbidden Healing, cards that don't really do much in the matchup, where on the other hand, DiegoDias has a bunch of Murlocs that allow him to get the early board and make Muzzy have to be on the back foot from the get-go, as well as Gentle Megasaur and other cards that act as huge threats. Like, you don't think of them as like a late game threat, but Gentle Megasaur is a very terrifying late game threat.
I mean, he's standard quartermaster, essentially.
Basically,
Taking
yeah.
large boards of small things that do nothing and making them win games.
Right, so it's like playing the Paladin mirror, but only one guy has Quartermaster in Wild. So he definitely has a bit of an edge there, and this is a really solid pickup for Diego. Able to get another Tyrion, and Control Paladin's a very slow deck. They try and control the game, as you would imagine. So being able to control 2 Tyrions is quite difficult, especially with only one Harrison Jones. But, maybe you getaway Kodo it.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. If you get through the early game, you do have a reasonable threat density in the late game.
Well, you have the same
As
top
Muzzy,
end.
yeah.
Yeah, the exact same threats, but just instead of the early game of the
You
Murlocs, you have Doomsayers and Wild Pyromancers.
Yeah.
So it's just the issue of always being behind in the beginning, and then you use your clear.
And then
you're
finally you're
ahead.
equal.
Then you're equal/ahead. Then they use their clear, and then they're equal/ahead. Then you use your second clear. Then they use their second clear, and then you use your no. There's no third clear.
So you just lose that.
So then you're done. That's the problem. That's the problem when both of the decks are so similar, but one just always starts ahead. But this is a very aggressive, again, Megasaur by DiegoDias. We've seen this from him a lot. Just pushing out the Megasaur extremely quickly.
I mean, it's automatically checked by the True Silver active for Muzzy.
Right.
Which maybe is a method to taking taunt on the Murlocs, hoping that the True Silver can't get through. Wind Fury is just more damage, though.
Diego is a very, very aggressive player.
He is.
I haven't casted too many of his games before, but he definitely goes out guns blazing, taking high tempo plays, trying to push the damage. Wind Fury is pretty sick with a Spike Reach Steed in hand, too, by the way.
And Murloc War Leader. I mean, if he lands this and it sticks,
He just wins.
he's in a great position.
That's kind of been the story of Diego's Paladin. He keeps taking these plays where it's like, well, if this sticks, I win. And then Muzzy always has the clear.
And it's worked 5 times for him. Fortunately, Muzzy is working really hard to make sure it doesn't work a 6th.
Right.
But even still, that board got cleared, and now Diego still has Steed, Tyrion, Curator, plus War Leader for whatever else he pulls.
Yeah, he's really hoping that there's no second True Silver to beat down this War Leader by kind of forcing the True Silver swing on the Gentle Megasaur and also just playing the Gentle Megasaur in general. He was trying to land a buff that would allow his minions to live through Consecrate so he could land this Spike Ridge Steed because he had no action besides Spike Ridge Steed on his next turn. And it was a little unfortunate for him not able to get something that would allow the minions to live through Consecrate. So he's thinking about coining the secret here, trying to bluff maybe a Getaway Kodo, Redemption, Noble Sacrifice, something that protects this War Leader. Because he does only have Repentance in hand. The 6 drops from Muzzy are Sunkeeper Tarim and Ivory Knight, so not really the best Repentance targets, but you have to assume that Muzzy's going to be, having to guess what the secret is, which could make him do something suboptimal. And you have to assume that he's going to spend this entire turn clearing the war leader. So if he's doing that, then the Repentance is kind of acting going into his turn 7, where there are actually valuable targets to hit. But yeah, the secret bluff works.
Ironically enough, Forbidden Healing heals you for 0.
It heals you for a lot later on, but 0 for now, yeah. So, yeah, Muzzy was
investment.
too afraid to True Silver the War Leader because he was afraid of any of those 3 other secrets I had mentioned, and it turns out it was just Repentance. So the War Leader is going to be able to persist.
Second Tyrion for Diego. His
That hand can do
neck
some
turns are going to be
damage.
really good.
Yeah. And he's still solidly on the board for right now as well. He can use the Spike Ridge Steed to get a taunt that protects his War Leader. Take a value trade.
You could even just True Silver down the Knight and Hero Power.
He could. He could read the last play from Muzzy as maybe he just doesn't have True Silver number 2. It's possible.
But knowing Diego, he's been playing very aggressively.
I think, yeah, he is.
He is going to take this trade, though.
8 power in play, though. And tons of steam to go forward and a quality to plow through threats from Muzzy. And Muzzy really wants to try and set up a Doomsayer to go off so he can get tempo back after he clears. So if he could just like stall out this turn with maybe Aldor or something like that, or True Silver to set up. Okay, see where he's going with this. So he's gonna True Silver this turn. Oh, he's just gonna go for the Doomsayer right now. I was thinking maybe you try and go for an Equality Consecrate and then set the Doomsayer up behind it. But so it'd be going into your opponent's turn 8.
Well, now Diego has
Yeah.
a lot of options for how he wants to get rid of this Doomsayer
Well, the Spike Ridge Steed stands out to me
as being
as
quite good.
the best option. You get a 4/12 Stegadon. You get to protect your Murloc War Leader.
Yeah, the
and,
only advantage to
maintain
True
your
Silver
entire
is you
board.
get to Hero Power.
Right.
You only push 2 that way. With Steed, you...
Yeah, you do. You push 2 extra damage. Your board is a little less resilient, but it is a lot more powerful, for sure. You put out 12 power setting up lethal on board. So there is definitely merit to the True Silver Hero Power play. And you get to squeeze in a Hero Power, which is just like
It's a
creating
3/2.
value.
It's 2 mana Flame Imp
Right.
for free.
It's not bad. It's a Bloodfin Raptor. It's a Murloc.
It's a Puddle Stomper.
It's a Puddle Stomper. That's what that card's called.
It took me a second, but I got there.
He's just going to go with the Spike Ridge Steed, though. He wants the most resilient board possible. Playing Ragnaros the Light Lord here, one of the things that's really great about it is it makes it a lot harder for DiegoDias to just play Tyrion, because now he has this Light Lord that he kind of wants to deal with, so he has to expend some of his mana doing so, meaning he can't just drop a Tyrion. And he's very likely to have Tyrion at this point because the Spike Ridge Steed card has been in his hand since turn 3. And there's not a lot of high mana taunts that your opponent would be just like picking off of Stonehill to begin with and then holding in their hand this long.
Also, it lines up really nicely into True Silver trade with the Stegadon. Your own True Silver then kills off the Stegadon, and you can Equality Consecrate, try to come back on board.
Yeah, that's a full board clear. Not too much development behind the full board clear, though, so the wave of terror from Diego is not over yet.
This makes for a very nice Tyrion onto the board.
Reporting for duty.
Now he should play the Tyrion from Stonehill Defender. It's been in his hand for a really long time. Muzzy has been able to gather information about that card since it's been sitting in his hand so long.
The advantage to playing Curator, you could hero power, you would have Murloc War Leader to play next turn. But you want as much pressure as possible to try and close out this game quickly, and even that wouldn't set up 2-turn lethal.
Put your faith in the
Yeah.
light.
You definitely want to be as aggressive as possible. With 2 Tyrians in your hand,
Get the Tyrion train rolling.
you got a lot of weapon swings you need to start making room for. He's, it looks like he's even going to swing this True Silver. He says, this Tyrion's most likely going to die. I need to be able to have my arms ready for an Ashbringer.
Definitely always want to be arms wide open.
It's an Ashbringer, for sure.
Reporting for duty.
Well, as far as Diego knows, that's 3-turn lethal with the Ashbringer. Muzzy, however, has a total of 40 healing in hand, if he so wants it.
Right. That's a lot of healing, but he's gonna need the board too. And Diego has the clear, right? He's gonna be able to get Primordial Drake off this Curator, so he's gonna be able to equality Primordial Drake to clear in an upcoming turn.
Oh, and the Finja pull's really nice as well. That combined with the War Leader in hand.
It's definitely not a bad reload in between your Ashbringer swings, because you don't want to play the Tyrians back to back. You have to use the weapon first. He's even going to extend the War Leader just because it doesn't die on board, so it forces some sort of action from Muzzy.
Oh.
So now Muzzy can't get the full heal from Forbidden Healing, right? He has to play something this turn. Otherwise, the War Leader will stick around. Or I guess he could just accept that the War Leader's sticking around and take a little bit of extra damage from the War Leader, and in return, you know, getting a little bit extra healing from Forbidden Healing.
I mean, this is probably the best Terran board you're going to get.
I think so as well. I think it's hard-pressed to get a better Terran board.
Yeah.
But knowing your opponent has picked up a Primordial Drake, it's also a bit scary because they could have the equality to combo with it. And this way his healing is quite limited. He's only getting 8 off the Forbidden Healing. But he doesn't know he has another Tyrion to deal with, so he thinks 8 is plenty.
Put up a taunt, heal for 8.
And he's even
Practically neutralizing the 2 Ashbringer swings.
He's going to push with that Silverhand Recruit instead of respecting the Murloc there, because he is expecting this equality clear to come down. He's expecting the equality Primordial Drake. A little bit punished by this equality Consecrate if Diego wants to take that, maintaining his Murloc on board.
You can rock pull and hero power afterwards. Push for 9. 11 with the Consecration 2 damage.
Right, setting up lethal with the Ashbringer swing alone next turn. There's no taunt to block it or healing to get out of the way. You can see Muzzy makes a little bit of a face there.
Putting Muzzy in the position where if he wanted full value from Forbidden Healing, he would not also be able to clear the board, and therefore would likely just die on the backswing.
Yeah, so he has to clear the board, get that under control first, and then Forbidden Healing. And it's so bad to equality Primordial Drake this, but how else does he really stabilize and stay alive, right? Because if he Forbidden Healings, then this board is just going to stay there. All Diego would do is hero power and punch him in the face with everything if he were to just Forbidden Healing with all of his mana. And if he goes for the equality Primordial Drake, he's going to be met with all of these giant threats from Diego's hand, and he's not going to have an answer for them any longer.
How about the middle ground? If you just Primordial Drake, you leave it 2-1, you can hero power. You save equality for...
You hope you get one of the wild Pyromancers,
Yeah.
I guess. That could work.
And then Diego doesn't have, he would only have 7 power, wouldn't be able to get through the Primordial Drake without using his own Primordial Drake, which would then kill the rock pool.
Then you have to equality that one Primordial Drake next turn.
Yeah, then you still have no way to
Because
kill
you only
it.
have... Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be game. Diego's gonna tie up this series.
2-2. Expect nothing less from players that are both 5-0 in the Swiss thus far. The final game, it's going to be the Taunt Warrior from Muzzy, right? Or no, he got to win with that.
He did.
He's
got the Paladin still left.
Still, right.
Yes.
The one that he had just played. The Control Paladin, a deck that is, I think, my least favorite deck of the last 3 tournaments I've casted. It's been the lowest win rate deck in all of them, but apparently it's good.
I mean, I'm going to trust the myriad of people that have brought it to this tournament.
Right, and he's up against the Taunt Warrior from Diego. We've casted this matchup before, and it did end up falling in the Taunt Warrior's favor. But the Paladin had missed a lot of really crucial draws. It's a really close matchup that can kind of go either way. One of the most important cards that you're going to want to see is Stampeding Kodo. And Muzzy's got 2 of those in his hand.
Yeah, in the last matchup we casted of Paladin versus Taunt Warrior, there were no Kodos when the Bloodhoof came down, when the Ellie Armorsmith came down. So with those well-timed Kodos, Muzzy is able to get really fantastic value, push tempo by killing off some of Diego's highest value taunt minions.
Yeah,
From there, it's going to be tough for Diego to win.
it's just all upside with the Kodo. You get tempo, value, the whole 9 yards.
Speak to me.
Put a nice mid-range body on the board that your opponent feels kind of threatened by, but maybe not too threatened by, but Spike Ridge Steed is a problem. There's a lot to consider with just these little 5-drop beasts that have been around forever. Importantly now, if Diego does play down Bloodhoof Brave this turn, Muzzy does not have a guaranteed kill on the Bloodhoof Brave with the Kodo.
Does he get greedy with the Kodo then? He gets to save the coin if he's really greedy. He could use this True Silver that he just acquired to take down the Bloodhoof Brave quite cleanly with a minion that's rather useless on the board anyway.
And you're going into Warriors turn 5, which is either Direhorn Hatchling or Ellie Armorsmith. If it's Ellie Armorsmith, you do get another chance at a really good.
Yeah, and a lot of times Diego's not going to be putting Muzzy on having a Kodo here because he assumes, hey, he'd probably just coin Kodo if he had it last turn, so my Ellie Armorsmith is safe. Let's get the value out of this card while we know he doesn't have a Kodo. But he's on to Muzzy, and he's going to play the Direhorn Hatchling, try and avoid this whole Kodo situation.
Sees around Muzzy's tricks. Eventually, Diego's going to be forced into playing that Bloodhoof or that Ellie Armorsmith. You need to complete the quest. You only have so many taunts in the deck.
Interestingly enough, it looks like Muzzy kind of wanted to deny draw. He was prioritizing that over the tempo of the minion. So he wants to extend this game into the late game, and he wants to try and make it as hard as possible for Diego to actually complete his quest and just try and run him out of resources by lowering his draw off Acolyte.
Maybe.
Which we've been saying, Taunt Warrior is kind of like a combo deck. So if you're able to shut off their draw engine, they can fizzle out. Not have enough resources to get too much done.
Certainly seen some games where they have struggled to complete the quest before turn 10.
Maybe. No.
After already seeing one Kodo,
How likely are you to think that there's a second one in hand?
yeah. He's gonna just clear the Kodo. He's kind of playing around Spike Ridge Seed a little bit, just making sure it's been removed, but by not playing the Armorsmith, this turn plays heavily into the second Kodo, which can now come down, killing the Bloodhoof Brave, and then the True Silver can kill the other minion. Or Harrison Jones draw. Just because the Harrison Jones is a good body to contest the minions on board.
Want to get value while you can from
Kodo
it.
for, I imagine, Acolytes. He made sure the first one hit an Acolyte. I think he's just sticking to his guns, and he's saying, if I could just deny the card draw from the Taunt Warrior, I'll run him out of steam. That's how I win the matchup. At least that's what it looks like from my perspective.
Yeah, choke him out of resources.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to play the matchup. It makes a lot of sense.
The menagerie is
The Warrior just
But,
cannot win in the late game if they
Yeah. When
don't complete the quest.
When you're trying to starve someone of resources, It's a real bummer to see him play Curator and draw 2 cards. Muzzy just definitely made a face when that happened. So now maybe you just shift gears and take your Kodo value. It's a little awkward because then the Harrison Jones lines up extremely poorly into the Curator.
Yeah, you're gonna have to overkill it.
Should
Or
I?
Pyro +1 spell.
Yeah, it's just clunky. He's just gonna rush out Tyrion as fast as he can. Tyrion has got a great stat line for this board. 6 attack against 2 6 health minions. Can't get much better than that.
Plus Diego needs 1 additional form of damage to pop the Divine Shield.
Yeah, he can't even kill Tyrion on this board currently. He needs to play something out of hand to help him out.
Primordial Drake could maybe force Swing of the Ashbringer plus the Harrison. You also have the option of Ghoul with Direhorn Matriarch. But either way, you're sacrificing both of these minions into the Tyrion.
Right, so at that point, maybe you don't even bother with it. Maybe you just try and work towards your quest. Just play taunt minions and kind of ignore the Tyrion. It's got to go through the taunt minions first anyway.
I gotta move.
But getting rid of the Divine Shield does seem pretty good value. He's going to let the Divine Shield ride. That is some nasty value trades that Tyrion can get with that bubble.
Oh, man.
What Muzzy really wanted to have here is just an Equality Consecrate so he could just really shove the damage. But all he has is a fistful of minions at the moment.
Follow the rule.
Well, shutting down armor gain isn't the worst.
You're reasonably happy with any of these targets?
Yeah, obviously most happy with the 1/9, but
Yes. But you're never too bad about denying health gain. So. Playing maybe a little bit into Brawl, but it's not turn 10, so Diego could not Brawl and play Ali Armorsmith behind it.
yeah, and it's actually just so much pressure that Muzzy's been able to put out before the quest has even been completed that it's looking pretty sketchy for Diego. Trying to respond to all of these minions and start playing taunts, because it's getting to the spot where it's kind of difficult for him to play the taunt minions that he wants to, because his mana is locked up doing other things. And that's really powerful. If you can deny your opponent from having the ability to finish the quest because they're too busy killing all of your junk, then you're basically gaining 8 life a turn, because they're not hero powered.
Yeah, no, the more I think about it, Ravaging Ghoul to clear off the Divine Shield just seemed
I gotta move.
so valuable. I don't know, you gave up Curator, you played heavily into Equality Pyro or Equality Consecrate. You just give a lot of the ability to dictate trades to your opponent when you play that way.
But you get more progress on your quest.
You do, which is ultimately the most important thing.
It's something for sure.
But at what point is this game just too far gone for the quest to make that much of a difference? It's tough to say.
We're gonna find out, it looks like. The Tyrion is...
Maybe the time.
I've never seen a Tyrion get so many value trades on the board before. The bubble took out a Curator. Now it's being able to just value trade down a Bloodhoof Brave. It's killed 11 mana worth of stuff, and it hasn't even given Muzzy the Ashbringer yet. It's the most generous Tyrion of all time.
He's so giving. To be fair, Tyrion has been difficult for Control Warriors to kill since the dawn of Hearthstone all those years ago.
This is what Diego's been waiting for. He's got the answer right there. He can use Ravaging Ghoul this turn and Sleep with the Fishes, clearing off everything except the Harrison Jones, then play his own Harrison Jones, removing the Ashbringer, you know, effectively healing him for 15 and drawing 3 additional cards
the Harrison's trade at that point. You do also have the option of brawl,
Right.
but I think you really want to guarantee that this Tyrion dies this turn.
It would be awkward if you brawl and the Tyrion lives.
Yeah.
That would be a bummer.
Muzzy ends up with Tyrion and the 2/6 steed. And then you have nothing that you can do behind it because you don't want to play Harrison when there is a Tyrion on board.
Right. Then you just armor up and cry a little bit.
So, a little bit of failure right there. I don't know that you really want to let
only
Muzzy
happens-
have any chance.
1 in 5. But yeah, it's just also, it's easier to get value out of Brawl in the matchup generally than it is to get value out of a Fishes combo. And the Ghoul also just contests on board quite nicely.
Well, now that you've dealt with the board, quest completion is getting even closer. 8 damage per turn is going to be significantly more targeted. Looking better. 3 cards changes a lot.
Yeah. But Muzzy still has a lot of fuel. Double Sunkeeper Tarim is no joke. Can heal up this Harrison Jones if he wants to as well. The Forbidden Healing. Changing a card that's pretty useless into the matchup into a tempo play.
Just 4 health on your Harrison. Actually, be 8 health.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I'm gonna hold on to it. Afraid of, I guess, execute.
Yeah. Maybe you get to the point where you have board, but you know, you're 8 health or below. You don't want to risk getting blown out by 1 lucky rag shot. Forbidden Healing prevents that. And it does look like, you know, Muzzy has several very high quality minions. So maybe that scenario isn't too outlandish.
Is several very high quality minions enough against several brawls?
And a bunch of 8 damage per turn.
Right.
You know, I always go into this matchup thinking that it is, and then I come out of this matchup thinking, why did I think that?
Right. Quest is now complete for Diego. So on the following turn, he's going to be able to start pushing damage. Brawls are so fantastic post-quest because it usually results in either a completely clear board or your opponent has 1 minion and they took 8 damage to the face. So with 2 brawls, you can almost kind of guarantee 16 damage.
Reporting for duty.
Does he commit the Wild Pyromancer alongside this term?
Ungoro belongs to the fight.
Gonna hold it there. Just ignore the Armor Smith. It's kind of weird because the Armor Smith threatens to gain a lot of value if just a bunch of taunts come out from Diego's side. But at the same time, killing it, you know,
Gives it the value.
gives it value, yeah, because it's most likely you're gonna die in some sort of clear anyway.
So I suppose one way it guarantees value, one way maybe it doesn't.
Something like that.
Huh. It's been a long day.
He needs the face pressure, so he decides to take the risk on ignoring the Armor Smith, hope that, you know, a wall of taunts don't come down, giving Diego a bunch of armor.
There's only so many taunts left for Diego. You've seen 2 Bloodhoofs, you've seen the Dire Horn Hatchling plus the Matriarch, you've seen 1 Alien Armorsmith. Yeah, it's very limited as to what he actually has left in deck.
He does have this Tar Creeper.
Wouldn't be like the Great Wall of China of taunts, it would be like the Garden Wall of taunts.
Garden Wall.
Very much able to jump over it if you try hard enough.
Armor Smith does usually win the brawl, though, so that's always something you gotta be a little scared of. This is different when the Armor Smith is a 3/3 instead of a
You know what?
1/4.
The 1/4 stat line makes a difference.
Okay,
I think Kit Kat's also said that once.
sure. That is a kind of weak brawl, to be honest. It's definitely not a brawl to write home about. Brawling 4 minions, one of them being your own. So that was a tough decision there by Diego. He had to choose whether or not he wanted to utilize that brawl or if he wanted to take some alternative line that maybe used execute, just tried to generate value off the hero power.
Reporting for duty.
Have you ever had a brawl that you've written home about?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Your mom does seem really supportive.
She's very supportive.
Maybe you've like Twittered home.
Twitter home about my brawls all the time. Post a screenshot, let them know what's going
Mom puts them in the
on.
scrapbook.
Every time.
Yeah, my mom would too, if I had any noteworthy brawls.
Hey, speak to me.
Play some more Tom Warrior.
That's a good deck.
Now Diego has to decide whether he wants to try and hit the face or the minions. If hero powers first, he kind of wants to hit the minions. He does not want to hit any minions. He's even going to use Execute, pave the way. He wants 100% sure that this rag shot goes face.
And you know there's still threats left for Muzzy.
Yeah, so spending that Execute, but he has the second brawl, which is why he's kind of doing this, right? He wants Muzzy to develop some sort of taunt, you know, boards of that nature, and then he brawls it away, War Axe face, hero power to close out the game.
Okay, so Muzzy has 12 guaranteed, or Diego, excuse me, has 12 guaranteed.
Right, but Muzzy's at 30 life, so he's far from dying at the moment, and Diego's actually getting kind of low. Muzzy was able to pick up Avenging Wrath off Ivory Knight. That's 8 damage, potentially, on a clear board, and Consecrate can pave the way, making that clear board alongside the Equality. So he does have 10 damage in reserve. Needs to figure out how to get the other 11.
As well as an additional 8 healing from Ragnaros, which is probably guaranteed at this point. You do need to be wary of Equality Consecration if you're Diego.
Right, you've seen a bunch of cards drawn. It's almost guaranteed, or highly expected to be in the hand of Muzzy at this point. So he's gonna go with the Tar Creeper rather than, you know, committing something bigger like the Alley Armorsmith, and just getting in those War Axe swings in case he does happen to find the second War Axe. And he can get in those swings as well. And this is enough pressure that Muzzy feels it. He's gonna have to clear here with the Equality Consecrate, try and set up the Doomsayer so he has tempo going into the next turn. And this is his big push.
Will it be enough?
Reporting for duty.
Well, it's really gonna be all about this rag shot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less from the two 5-0 players. Both incredibly experienced. Great players, bringing it down to
No.
game number 5. It's been a good showing. A lot of long games, but good showing nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure. Watching all of the players play.
So many choices.
Now, what is he thinking about here?
I gotta move.
I do love watching the players play, Firebat. I know Frodan does too. Kibler also, I'm sure.
Primordial Drake, so he can guarantee the War Axe swing. But this sets Muzzy to... Why do you think he's saving onto this War Axe so aggressively?
Not sure. Light Lord heals back to 15.
I guess it is his Execute activator that allows him to hero power in the same turn.
Yeah.
Because Primordial Drake Execute, he's unable to squeeze in the hero power while doing. Whereas War Axe Swing Execute, he can still hero power alongside it. So I think the logic is he doesn't care about the 4-8 body, he just cares about pressing that hero power button every turn. So for mana efficiency's sake, I think that's why he sacrificed a 4-8 50% of the time into the Doomsayer there. That was really wild. That's interesting.
4-8 could have made a big difference. That Stonehill pickup's really nice. You need resources at this point. Muzzy's getting low on the ability to actually deal with them. Whereas you have one guaranteed source of damage every turn. It's like a free removal spell every turn. Or, you know, Pyroblast.
One of the two, yeah.
Good too.
Takes a 50-50 brawl here. Okay, I guess if he fails the brawl, he has to commit the execute.
I gotta move.
Either way, you're still threatening lethal next turn with the rag shot.
Muzzy's out of healing at this point, right? There might be. Is there another forbidden healing?
I mean, the Wicker Flame can get him to 9 if it lives.
If it lives, yeah. That's the only source of healing remaining for Muzzy. He's used the True Silver, he's used Ivory Knight, he's used Rag Light Lord, Forbidden Healing, and he still doesn't have enough health.
He used the first Forbidden Healing for 8.
Yeah. A third of the time, Diego becomes the only undefeated player in the tournament.
I know, I was thinking something along the lines of champion, but he's not quite there yet.
No, he's still got a ways to go before.
Still a nice title to be undefeated, but that does guarantee him a spot in the top 8. So this would be a big win for either of these guys. Even if you end up going 6-1, you're definitely in at this point.
Okay. Well, being in the top 8 sounds pretty good.
Yeah. All you need then is one more win to
And
get you to Shanghai. That's a miss.
well, one of the things it does allow him to do is potentially try and clear off
I gotta move.
the Wicker Flame, and if it's not redemption, we know it is, but he doesn't know that it's redemption, so if he does choose to Whirlwind Sleep with the Fishes, he could try and shut off that healing from Muzzy.
Knowing that it is redemption, the Steed comes down, Muzzy gets to heal for 5.
Yeah, this game's not over.
No, it's definitely not. Steed Consecration's full clear, and you go up to 12.
That's a healthy life total. You got really good minions on board for redemption. One of them a little better than the other, but both not bad.
I mean, this is the first time that Muzzy's actually been able to have something stick. And he's
How much
immediately
damage? Wait a
back
minute,
in
is it lethal?
Avenging Wrath,
Consecrate does like effectively 6 because it hits the minions, and then you can Avenging Wrath.
Yeah.
So if Avenging Wrath full clears,
It would need to deal 6 to minions, then it would go 2 face. That would still be 10?
there's potential, right?
So you consecrate.
Right.
Diego goes down to 9.
Yeah. And the health on board goes down to 2 plus 4.
6.
So 6.
Avenging Wrath deals the 6, then it deals an
then
additional 2 to face, which is puts into 7, then
it's
you're
one off.
1 off.
1 off. So there's no potential
We got
lethal there
there.
for Muzzy, and he is just going to take the clear play. But 1 off.
Yeah, it's
That's
close.
pretty close to being almost dead last turn to 1 off the next turn.
Not lethal.
Well, Diego does have a bunch of taunts he can put back in the way.
Yeah, but the minions are too healthy for fishes to mean anything. Diego went with the 50-50 brawl to try to kill off the Rag Light Lord.
Yeah, I really did not like that brawl play. He could have just War Axed that, executed it, played a 2-7, and then shot a rag shot with a 1-1 or the face's potential. But he really wanted to guarantee it to go face because he thought Muzzy was out of healing. And the Wicker Flame Burn Bristle coming out of nowhere, just reminding everybody, hey, I do some healing too.
My name's Silly. I'm only 3 mana, but
Yeah, sometimes
do a good job.
you forget about that little guy. But when he gets Spike Ridge Steed,
There are, in fact, 3 useful Paladin legendaries.
well, it still heals him for 5, so it gets him outside of Ragnarok's shot range. Just
Yet again.
barely. And the Primordial Drake could come down for the full board clear. Does make you a bit vulnerable to Sleep with the Fishes. That's got to be something to think about.
Oh.
Eye for an eye.
Ooh.
That's a lot of damage potential. That's 8 damage you send back at Diego's face.
You can Avenging Wrath, Eye for an Eye, and just
Set it up.
set it up.
So now for Diego to win, he needs to clear the entire way of taunts, poke face for not 8, and then hit him for 8. That seems tough.
That's a tall order.
Well-
Drake fishes.
It does clear the board except for the Stegodon,
2-6.
because the Hydrologist dies first, comes back to life injured as a 2-1 from the Redemption, and then fishes, cleans up all of the minions except for the Stegodon. So he's on the board with commanding board control and the Direhorn Matriarch. That's a solid follow-up to that line of play.
And this Drake is going to need to be the minion that goes face. If Matriarch goes in, you're still dead.
Yeah, you definitely have to sequence properly around this eye for an eye. I don't see any other line of play here.
I gotta move.
Okay. Matriarch directly challenges the Stegodon.
Okay. You see that. Does set up a better trade for you. But,
This way it is the Wicker Flame that is
right, the Wicker Flame comes back this way instead of
Hydrologist.
the Hydrologist.
Out of my jungle.
These are not very good taunt minions.
Nope.
I'm not ready.
Still probably going to be enough, though. Diego's just out of resources.
I'm out of cards.
It's out of cards, too. So if he's going to win from this position, he needs to connect with his Tar Creeper. That is actually a key part of his victory, because he doesn't have any smaller minion to be able to really connect. Because he's going to be taking the fatigue damage, right? So
Yep, he'll take the one this next turn and then the two.
and then the two after. So the Drake's too slow on the connection a lot of the
So
time.
Creeper needs to
Unless-
go in for one.
If he hero powers here and hits the 4-3, then he can pave the way with the Drake. So he has to risk it again. He hits it. Oh, quality
my
Drake
God.
cleans everything up.
Oh, Muzzy, you're making it interesting, man.
Well, that's... Well, he's gonna take 1 fatigue damage, then 2 fatigue damage, then 3 fatigue damage, and 1 from the eye for an eye damage, and then be able to close out the game with the 2 hero powers.
I mean, he's dead from fatigue in 2 turns.
Right. He takes 2 and then 3. So there's no way that he can kill Muzzy in time. The game is over. Muzzy is the 6-0 champion of day 1.
Wow.
I think. We counted that right? He's
Yes,
already taken
he
1
took
fatigue
Then
damage.
he takes 2, and 2 plus 3
Right. 2
equals
plus 3 is
5.
5. And he can't kill him on the next turn, even if the rag shot goes face here.
Muzzy is not yet in fatigue. That's all she wrote, folks. Muzzy is going to go up to a 6-0 record in quite a nail-biter of a series. They really took it all the way, but that was a fantastic series.
It was definitely a fantastic series. That last game was so back and forth. I was like, Diego's going to win. Muzzy's going to win.
It ended up being Muzzy. He's going to go up to a 6-0 record, likely solidifying his spot in the top 8 of this tournament, and very, very deserving player to make it this far. And we are going to go back over to the main set.